Welcome back to Ray's Garage. I'm Ray Caniglia. I'd like to thank all my new subscribers who are pouring in daily, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. I had an overwhelming response on Mix Mash 7. Very positive comments. A lot of good suggestions. So first thing, I'm going to show some of the upgrades I did to the saw and why it earned the Ray's Garage stamp of approval. Had a couple good suggestions, and I incorporated them in the saw this week, and I'll show what I did and some of the changes, and I'll show a little more in-depth look at what I did to upgrade the saw for my liking. Anyway, also in the video, I'm going to show you the making of this ring. It's made for a jaw grinding fixture. I'll show you the making of it and grinding the jaws on the closing. So sit back and I hope you enjoy. I'm going to bring you in closer on the saw and we'll talk about the changes. First thing I want to talk about was the upgrade I did to the rear wheels. I had to make a little larger axle, and what I did is I upgraded from an 8-inch wheel that came with the saw to a 10-inch. And the reason I did this was to get this base here up off the ground. Because the way this saw works is the front and the back sit flat and then you rock the saw up to move it. Well, I wanted to keep the saw portable. So I put a little larger wheel on the back to bring it up off the ground, and I put a caster in the front. Let me reposition the camera and I'll show you that. You can't see it from here, but up on the inside of the base, I have a piece of angle iron with a single caster. And that allows me to move this thing around easily. The saw weighs about 400 pounds, and I wanted an easy way to move it around, and this works great. The reason I didn't go with 2 casters on the front is I didn't want it binding up and making it more difficult to maneuver around. So the single wheel works pretty darn good. So that was the first thing I did to the saw. The second thing is, let me reposition the camera again. So right off the bat, the first thing I did is I checked the square of the back jaw, and sure enough, it was out by, you know, I'd say an 1/8 inch from top to bottom. So what I did is I just pulled the jaw off, I put it on an angle plate on the mill, and I just took a skim cut off the bottom of this, and now we have it perfect. I did the same thing on the jaw that is free. So now that is squared up, and now the jaws clamp nice and true to each other. Okay, the next thing I did is I upgraded to the Lennox Classic Bimetal Variable Pitch Blade. This is a 610, and the reason I got that, it's kind of midway on the types of materials that I'm cutting on a regular basis. And I was going to run this blade dry. Well, I had a whole bunch of suggestions not to do that because it extends the life of the blade when you have coolant running through it. So that leads me to talking about the coolant. When I bought the Lennox blade, I got some of this Lennox lube tube, and basically what it is, it's a blade wax. I was just going to use this. It works very well, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. I would definitely recommend it if you're going to run the saw dry. I decided this week not to run the saw dry, to go with the lubricant. I did my homework, and this stuff just kept popping up. It's a full synthetic lube. Several people recommended it. My buddy Stan over at Bar Z, he recommended it. A couple other people did. I'm sorry, I don't remember who did, or your names, but thank you. I ended up going with the full synthetic because I don't want it to stink up the garage. It doesn't go bad as fast, and the stuff is a lubricant and a coolant. So I'm going to try to find the magic mix. I'm going to use Philip's little tool that he uses in his CNC machine to get the mix right. And also, too, several people asked to see how the swivel head works. So let me reposition the camera again, and I'll swivel the head for you. And also show off the coolant and the upgrade we made to the coolant system. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate the swivel head now. The vise does not swivel. The back jaw does swivel, and that's if you have an uneven part in here. So basically, I'll bring you around to the other side, but I loosen the lock nut, and you could swivel all the way up to 45 degrees. And actually it goes a little bit over 45, like maybe 48 degrees. But that's one reason why I bought this saw. I wanted the head to swivel and not the vise. It's an easier setup for me. I can make quicker cuts. It's real easy to swivel, as you can see. Well, I got it on a wheel here. It's got a stop, so it can stop at 0 degrees or 90 degrees each time. Okay, so let's get it fired up, and I'll show the coolant system here. Okay, Paul Compton mentioned to add a second water jet or coolant jet to after the cut, which is a very good suggestion, and I incorporated this into it. I added this week, and the reason for it is after you make your cut, you want to rinse the blade and keep it free of debris, and that's exactly what it does. So let's fire it up and turn on the coolant system. And all right. There's the front jet. There's the rear jet. It's got plenty of pressure. I barely have these guys cracked. Here's a little closer view. So, I mean, I could really crank these bad boys up, which really isn't necessary. But there you go, coolant. So, I'll throw some material in here and let's make a cut. Here's the swivel head lock. Let's lock this before we make a test cut. I got it pretty loose here. It's on a spring, and you got to pull it up over the, there we go. That's it, and you can set it back. You're good to go, man. I hate just wasting material for the heck of it, but this is worth it. We'll take a small slice off here. What do you think? That would be good. This is aluminum, so we want it on 3. Cutting like a dream, man. Cutting like a dream. Looking good, man. Looking good. So this is why this saw one raised garage stamp of approval. If you have any more questions, suggestions, remarks, I'm all open, man. Now let's move on to the video. Alright, here's a piece of 6.5-inch thick wall casing, and this is going to be a grinding fixture for my 3-jaw chuck on the Grizzly. So we're going to cut a piece of this off and go from there. So here we go. Now we're facing the grinding jig ring.
Rig.
Ring. Yeah, that.
That's 20,000.
And we're using Phillips Web.
It's not technical model. That's 30 thousandths off the face, where it's
Alright, I spared you from all the boring setup details, but where we're at on the jaw grinding ring, I got it clamped down to the mill table. We got the radius figured out, and we got the 3-hole circle radius all figured out, and we got the numbers for the DRO. So we're going to spot drill our first hole and drill it. So here we go. Hey Phil, you got that juice?
oh yeah.
I'm going to spin that sliding drill at 500, I think, or 600.
Yeah, it's just a big.
All right, this is a 3/8 spotting drill, spinning it at 600 RPM, and we're just going to peck at it, and so we have a nice, clean, straight holes. Yeah, sweet. How about 400? That's good. We'll go to 400 RPM.
I'll be your lube technician for today.
Oh, thank you. My arm in the way? Beauty, eh?
Perfect. Yeah, those things really give a nice finish on the chamfer.
Carbide, yeah.
It's like a 6 or 7 foot Citizen Shatter.
Hand that away.
So I finished the jaw grinding ring for the 3-jaw chuck on the Grizzly, and I went out and I got some really good quality cap screws. These are all within 1/10 of each other. So the shoulders are all within 1/10 of each other. And these are for the outside ring of the jaws. So I thought I would check to see how out around the chuck was before I ground it. So to my surprise, it's under a 1/2 thou. So I'll bring you in and show you. I got you in tight now on the Mitutoyo 1/2 thou test indicator, and I'll just run the lathe in reverse and show you how good the chuck is. And I'll move the fine adjust around just to show you that it is loaded up. And I'll load it back on 0 here. So that's pretty damn good, guys. That's within a 1/2 thou run out. I'm not going to grind these jaws. So when the time comes where they bell mouth or start running out more than a 1/2 thou, I'll use the jaw grinding jig. So I have it. It will fit my closing, so I think I'm going to go over there and take a look. Just so you know, this is a carbide end mill. It's probably the most accurate long enough to do this test. So that's pretty damn true, so I'm going to go with it, man. We're over here at the closing. Same setup with the Noga and the Mitutoyo 1/2 thou test indicator. I'll bring you in because I think we found a little project here. All right, we got her zeroed out. And I'll just spin this one by hand. Look at that, guys. It's almost 5 thou out. Okay. 4. Let's see, 4.5. It's 4.5 out. So our jaw grinding ring is going to come in handy for the closing. This is a import 3-jaw chuck that I machined the back plate to fit this threaded spindle. So I never even checked the run out on this in the 2.5 or 3 years that I've had it. So it's time to give the closing a little attention. Okay, I want to take this time to talk about my thought process behind this grinding ring and why I wanted to try this. I've never done this before. We know this chuck is 4.5 thousandths run out. It's a $100 chuck here, so I'm not real concerned about hurting it. Plus I can get replacement jaws if I screw it up. Here's my thought process. I made this ring for the Grizzly 6-inch chuck. So I drilled these for 10mm shoulder bolts. This has 8mm shoulder bolts, which is no big deal because the whole idea behind this ring is to load up the jaws as though there's a part in here. And when I say load up the jaws, I mean load them up on the scroll on the inside of the chuck. I didn't want to just open these jaws onto something this way because it'll be loading up on the opposite side of the groove on the scroll. So I thought by putting shoulder bolts in here and loading up the jaws on the shoulder of the bolt, I'm going to get a better concentric grind on the jaws. That's my thinking process. I started poking around the internet and I noticed that Haas makes a similar ring that's a lot thinner than this, and it has adjustable set screws that screw into their jaws on their Haas machine. So it's kind of the same theory. I'm not positively 100% sure it's going to work, but we're going to give it a go. So first step is let's get it in back gear and get this outer set of bolts out of the jaws, and then we'll get that ring set up on here and see how it runs. I also wanted to mention that this lathe is leveled and it is trammed. It cuts about a 2 thou taper over a 6-inch span. So it's pretty good for a 1967 closing. I tried to take that taper out some time back by twisting the bed a little bit. It didn't really help. As a matter of fact, it made it worse. So I ended up just leveling the lathe out from left to right, and the bed is concentric with each other from the head side to the tail side. So, and I checked it earlier today. It's still dead nuts. So what I did is I got these 8mm cap screws with a shoulder. I measured the shoulder. These are all within 2/10 of each other, these shoulders. So that's what we're going to be sitting on when we snug down on this ring. See, of course, these are made for 10mm, but so anyway, let's get this thing installed. And I'm going to get them a little snug, probably finger tight, and then load up the jaws. And then we'll see how it runs. Oh. The only reason I put a washer on here is so it can slide on the cap screw. Okay. What I'm doing, I'm just tightening it and then backing off. Basically just setting the ring on the back of the jaws. All right. That should slip on that. Slip on that one. Should slip on that one. All right, let's load it up. Take it out of the back gear first. I'm just going around the chuck here a little at a time. Not even sure if it makes a difference, but it makes me feel better anyway. Okay, I'm feeling it start to lock up on the shoulder of that cap screw. And I don't need to go really super tight. It's just like I'm loading up a part or chucking up a part. Alright. Let's tighten these bad boys up. That's pretty snug. Pretty snug. Pretty snug. Check this one more time. Just being a little redundant here, but all right, let's come in and see how it runs. Looks pretty good, man. Looks pretty good. Okay, let me get my little grinding jig set up and we'll be back. Getting ready to grind the jaws now. We have the ring mounted, and I wanted to talk about my setup here a little bit. What I have here is just a pneumatic die grinder. Normal 1/4 inch collet, which I made an extender because we have to reach 3 inches in to get all the jaws ground and clear the hex cap screws. So basically the first step we're going to do is I'm going to set up my diamond dresser on a indicator stand and dress this. It's the easiest way I could think to do it. And then I'll bring in a little bit, I'll take it off the stand and just show you the setup so you can see. It's a little crude, but it works. It's what I got. And you know, let's see if we can get that 4.5 thou run out of that chuck. Okay, I'm off the stand now, so I could run around this setup I got going on here, just to give you an idea. My extension chuck is, this is a piece of stainless, oh no, I'm sorry, chrome rod. It's 3/4 inch chrome rod. It's cut down to a 1/4 inch here, and it's a 1/4 inch reamed hole, and this is press fit into here. So it's a pretty stable setup. Once I dress the wheel, it should spin pretty true. So let me cut, and I'll bring it around to the other side. Here it is. It's sitting in an AXA Series 100 Aloris tool post, and I just have basically a 1/2 inch square bar with some reliefs cut in it for the hose clamps. Pretty simple setup. There's our grinding ring on the 3-jaw chuck, and then I'll get the diamond dresser set up and be right back. Here's the setup. I got a diamond dresser. It's a 3/8 shaft with a diamond stone in the tip. I have it on the Noga, mag base down to the bed of the lathe, and it's pushed up against the bed rail. So it's not super rigid, but it'll work. So wanted to show you this before I covered everything up with a towel. And basically this is only, we're going to just dress the end of this stone a little bit just to clean it up. That's it. Got her cleaned up all the way around. So now let's get set up to grind some jaws, man. Let's get a look at what we got so far. Looking really good, man. Really good. Really nice finish. All right, next step, I'm going to make a couple real light passes, and we'll pull the ring off and check the run out. See how good we did. Just finished our final pass. It just sparked out very little, very little. So I think we're good, man. I'll break down the setup and we'll throw that end mill back in here with an indicator and let's see where we're at, man. I'm excited to see the results. Just finished cleaning the lathe up. I cleaned it with WD-40 just in case any metal dust got past that cover, and then re-oiled it with whey oil. So now we can remove the ring and put in the factory bolts. And let's check out our results here in a minute. Let me get this off. I'll get the other bolts in, and then I'll bring you back. I'll get the 5/8 rougher end mill chucked up in here, and then I'll get the Noga set up with my Mitutoyo indicator on it, and let's see where we're at with this run out. Got the Noga hooked up on the carriage. Got the half thou indicator set up on the same 5/8 end mill. Let's move in and see what our results are. All right, here we go. A thou run out. Guys, I'm keeping it. I'm not going to go after that for a thou. It's not worth it. So all in all, it looks like the jaw grind was worth it. If you remember, we were out 4.5 thousandths on that same 5/8 roughing end mill, and we got it within. It looks like it's a thou on the button, man. And just to show you, I got the thing loaded up. There's the fine adjust right there. Let's zero her out again. We are about 9/10 is my guess. 8 or 9/10 right there. So I'm going to call that a success, and I'm going to go with it. So thanks for going along with me, man. Another fun little project that turned out to be a success.